Hey everyone, welcome to my show, All Things New. I wanted to come on here and give a little quick update. I consider this kind of like a blog, but I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about my journey here nowadays in 2025. I can't believe it's 2025. I first started recording videos on YouTube 5 years ago. It was around 2020 when it seemed to be a chaotic life, a chaotic time. I know that we were in shelter in place in the March of 2020. And at the time, I was teaching special education, and we were to be in shelter in place. And I mean, it seems like such a long time ago. 5 years ago in March. I mean, 5 years to the day since we were in first shelter in place. And look at us 5 years later, just living a different life, really. Um, I guess I could start with about a year ago, um, a little more than a year ago, about a year and a half ago, I moved back to Texas after being in Tennessee for 21 months. And at the time, spiritually speaking, I was still going to a non-denominational church and living my new life as a Christian. It had been about a year since I had been baptized at the time, and I was just, living my Christian life. And so when I first moved here, uh, I kind of felt out of sorts because in Tennessee, I felt like I had a different family there, and we were doing life together spiritually speaking. Um, Me and my friends were kind of starting a new path in Christianity, and so we were all learning together at around the same time. And so when I moved back to Dallas, there was an uneasiness. I felt like a fish out of water. I was learning all these wonderful things about Christianity, but now I needed to find my new church. I needed to find new friends, and I needed to adapt into this new life in Dallas. My friends that knew me here, I felt like didn't know me anymore. I had gone through a major change when I was in Tennessee. I became Christian, and a lot of my friends are not Christian. I I wouldn't say that I'm straight, but I left the LGBT lifestyle behind. I decided that I was going to live my life as celibate, which is very odd in this new day and age because now you have choices and now you have different ways of being. And, celibate doesn't seem to be one of them that is easily and readily accepted. So, a lot of new changes happened in the summer of 2023. And so I was, just trying to adapt to this new surrounding. And so I had got I had received a job as a special education teacher in a nearby area here, and I was living my life as a teacher, but this time I had a different philosophy about life. And as the year went on, it started to conflict with um, how I was feeling and my new belief system. So, not to get into too many gory details, um, I came back to Dallas in 2023, in the summer of 2023, and for most of 2024, I was a teacher. And now I am working at State Farm. So I won't say exactly where at State Farm, but I'm doing something completely different. I ended my teaching career in December of 2024, and I'm starting a new career at State Farm in corporate. So with that being said, there's been a lot of other changes as well, spiritually speaking. I found myself yearning for something more as far as going to church and being a Christian. I had been going to a non-denominational church nearby, and while I loved it, I enjoyed the people that I met. It was a small church. It's one of those places where everybody knows who you are, and you are seen. And since I'm a pretty gregarious person, I felt seen. The only problem was I didn't understand fully what it meant to worship God. I didn't I didn't understand. I didn't feel like I was getting the meat. They say that when you first start as a Christian, you're getting the spiritual milk, and then eventually you become ready for meat. And I felt at the time that I wasn't getting spiritual meat. And this came around 2024, the summer of 2024. So, like a year later after being here. And I just felt empty. So, I don't want to make these too long, but suffice it to say, I needed something more. So, I started researching the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church, is one of the oldest churches around. And I was really curious as to why the Catholic Church does church differently. And, part of my prayer was, um, what does it really mean to worship God? And eventually, after my research and just prayer and discernment, I thought the Eucharist, you know, what is Holy Communion? So I'm going to leave it at that. Um, but that's an update. I'm really researching the Catholic Church. I've been taking OCIA classes and learning more about the Catholic faith, and really delving deep in discernment. So I ask you guys to pray for me. I'm hoping that this is the journey that I've been longing for, and that it is, a gift from God. So anyway, God bless you, and I pray that that this video finds you well.